The mist crept into Crystal Cove like a living thing, swirling and coiling through the town's cobblestone streets. It was as if the fog itself held a purpose, smothering the town in an unnatural stillness. The vibrant colors of the quaint buildings were dulled, their charm overshadowed by an eerie pall. Even the street lamps seemed powerless against the dense veil, their light dissolving into the fog as though swallowed by some unseen force. The air was heavy and damp, pressing on the town with an ominous weight. Over the past week, the mist had grown thicker each night, and with it came whispers of something sinister lurking within. In the pale light of early morning, a shadow emerged from the fog. Faint at first, like a wisp of smoke. Slowly, it grew more defined, a humanoid shape cloaked in icy tendrils that shimmered faintly as it moved. Its glowing eyes pierced through the haze, scanning the deserted streets with a cold, otherworldly gaze. The figure left a trail of frost wherever it passed, freezing puddles solid and painting leaves with crystalline patterns. Those who dared to peek through their curtains recoiled in fear, their breath hitching at the sight of the spectral being. The rumors spread rapidly, fueling the town's growing unease. Some said the phantom was the spirit of a vengeful sailor, returning to reclaim a stolen treasure. Others whispered about an ancient curse tied to the sea. Theories ranged from the fantastical to the absurd, but one fact was undeniable. The phantom's presence was very real. Businesses closed early, and families barricaded themselves indoors as the mayor, visibly shaken, tried to reassure the town. "We will get to the bottom of this," he declared during a hastily organized town hall, but his trembling voice betrayed his own fear. While the town succumbed to panic, Velma remained focused. Her analytical mind was determined to find a logical explanation for the events unfolding in Crystal Cove. She spent hours in the local library, scouring dusty tomes and records in search of clues. It was there, hidden in the archives, that she stumbled upon an old leather-bound journal. The cover was cracked and weathered, but the contents were startlingly vivid. The journal recounted the tale of the Frosted Mariner, a legendary pirate ship that had vanished centuries ago in a violent ice storm near Crystal Cove. The author of the journal described eerie occurrences tied to the ship's disappearance. Ghostly figures appearing in the fog, icy winds that froze ships mid-voyage, and whispers of a treasure cursed to bring ruin to anyone who dared claim it. Velma's eyes narrowed as she turned the brittle pages. The icy trails, the spectral figure. "It all matches what's happening now," she murmured. Snapping the book shut, she knew she had to share her findings with the gang. Meanwhile, Daphne was captivated by the haunting beauty of the frost patterns left behind by the phantom. Each design was intricate and precise, resembling delicate snowflakes frozen in motion. Her fascination drove her to follow the icy trails, which led her to the outskirts of town, where the remnants of an old glass factory stood. The factory had been abandoned for decades, its shattered windows and rusting machinery a stark contrast to its once thriving days. Yet, there was something about the place that felt alive, as though the phantom's presence lingered within its walls. Daphne snapped photos of the frost patterns, comparing them to the designs etched into the broken glass of the factory's windows. The similarities were undeniable. This place is more than just an old factory, she thought, her instincts telling her it was a key piece of the puzzle. Returning to the van, she shared her findings with the rest of the gang. Fred, ever the strategist, listened intently, his mind already forming a plan of action. Under the cover of twilight, the gang ventured into the derelict factory. The building loomed against the foggy skyline, its towering silos casting long, menacing shadows. Shaggy and Scooby lagged behind, their reluctance palpable. "Why do we always end up in the creepiest places?" Shaggy muttered, clutching a sandwich for comfort. Scooby whimpered in agreement, his ears drooping as he glanced nervously at the darkened windows. Inside, the factory was a maze of rusted machinery and decaying walls. Cobwebs hung like forgotten memories, and the faint scent of mildew lingered in the air. As they moved deeper, Velma's flashlight illuminated something unusual frost-covered machinery. The patterns were deliberate, mirroring the designs Daphne had observed outside. These frost trails. They're too precise to be natural, Velma remarked. Someone or something is leaving them intentionally. Their search led them to a hidden door partially concealed behind a stack of crates. Fred pried it open, revealing a dark passage that stretched into the unknown. The moment the door creaked open, a gust of icy air rushed past them, carrying a faint, haunting whisper. "I vote we don't go in there," Shaggy said, stepping back. Before anyone could respond, the phantom appeared, its glowing eyes blazing in the darkness. Chaos erupted as the gang scattered. The gang's footsteps echoed through the factory as they fled. The phantom glided after them, its icy aura freezing everything in its path. Shaggy and Scooby ducked into a side room, slamming the door behind them. "This is why we stick to snacks, Scoob," Shaggy panted, pressing his back against the door. Meanwhile, Fred, Daphne, and Velma regrouped near the entrance, their minds racing to make sense of what they'd seen. Back at the van, Velma examined a shard of frosted glass Daphne had grabbed during the chaos. Embedded within the frost were traces of sea salt, further linking the phantom to the maritime legend of the Frosted Mariner. "We need to check the docks," Velma declared. Though hesitant, the gang agreed. The docks, steeped in history, had always been a place of mystery and danger. At the docks, the gang discovered a hidden network of tunnels beneath the boardwalk. The tunnels connected the marina to the glass factory, revealing an elaborate smuggling operation. Crates marked with the Frosted Mariner insignia were stacked neatly, their contents shrouded in secrecy. Velma unearthed a ledger detailing stolen goods and shipments, confirming that the phantom was a cover for criminal activity. Before they could investigate further, the phantom appeared once more, forcing them to act quickly. Fred set an ingenious trap using items from the crates, while Daphne distracted the phantom with a flare. Velma overloaded a freezer unit to create a dense fog, obscuring the gang as they ensnared the phantom in a reinforced net. As they cautiously approached, they pulled off the mask to reveal Gerald, the assistant to the factory's reclusive owner. Gerald's cooling suit and manipulations of the legend had allowed him to carry out his smuggling operation undetected. His greed and desperation had driven him to terrify the town. With Gerald's confession, the gang ensured the stolen artifacts were returned to their rightful owners. As the fog lifted and Crystal Cove returned to its usual charm, the townspeople celebrated Mystery Inc.'s bravery. Velma, reflecting on the power of myths, couldn't help but wonder what other legends might hold kernels of truth, waiting to be unraveled. When Evermore Park reopened after decades of abandonment, it seemed to exude an unsettling presence. The park's decrepit attractions flickered with sporadic light, casting eerie shadows across its dilapidated grounds. A thin mist curled around the pathways like ghostly tendrils, enveloping the area in an oppressive atmosphere. When Evermore Park reopened after decades of abandonment, it seemed to exude an unsettling presence. The park's decrepit attractions flickered with sporadic light, casting eerie shadows across its dilapidated grounds. A thin mist curled around the pathways like ghostly tendrils, enveloping the area in an oppressive atmosphere. Scooby and Shaggy hesitated at the gate, but the enticing scent of cotton candy finally lured them inside. Meanwhile, Velma scrutinized the tickets they had purchased, noting strange engravings that hinted at something deeper. Fred and Daphne decided to explore the carousel, its disjointed and eerie rhythm creating a mechanical wail that echoed across the empty grounds. The once colorful horses appeared grotesque in the flickering light, their chipped paint and warped forms adding to the unsettling scene. As they investigated, Velma uncovered coded instructions within the engravings on the tickets. Each clue seemed to point to the House of Mirrors, a centerpiece of the park's darker mysteries. Elsewhere, Scooby and Shaggy, drawn by the remnants of an abandoned popcorn cart, found their brief moment of relief shattered by a ghostly reflection that appeared in a nearby mirror. Their synchronized screams filled the air as they bolted away in terror. Inside the House of Mirrors, Scooby and Shaggy stumbled into a room where a reflection of a grotesque clown with glowing eyes and a wide, sinister grin greeted them. The distorted image appeared almost alive, sending chills down their spines. Meanwhile, Fred discovered an abandoned storeroom filled with rusted machinery and faded documents. Daphne, investigating a nearby area, came across an old, tattered notebook belonging to a former park employee. Back outside, Velma continued decoding the engravings on the tickets, realizing they pointed to a pivotal location where the park's chilling mystery would unravel. Fred regrouped the gang near the Ferris wheel, which creaked and turned slowly, as if propelled by an unseen force. Daphne found a still-functional security camera system capturing intermittent footage of various parts of the park. Velma, poring over the notebook, pieced together details of a mysterious accident that had occurred decades ago. The notebook hinted at sabotage and unresolved vengeance. Meanwhile, Scooby and Shaggy, fleeing from their latest scare, discovered a hidden corridor beneath the Ferris wheel, its entrance concealed among rusted beams. In the hidden corridor, Scooby and Shaggy stumbled upon a secret hideout littered with clown costumes and faded newspaper clippings. The clippings detailed a scandalous dismissal of a park employee, Walter Grimm's, years ago. The atmosphere in the hideout was heavy with neglect and bitterness, but the clues were starting to come together. Fred, now fully committed to solving the case, led the gang to the main hall of the park. Daphne found an old projector, which she activated to reveal grainy footage of the park's history, unraveling a narrative of betrayal and revenge. As the gang watched the disturbing footage, strobe lights in the main hall began to flash uncontrollably, casting the room in an unsettling glow. The silhouette of the shadow clown emerged at the center of the chaos, its glowing eyes fixed on the group. Fred stepped forward to confront the figure, but quickly realized it was nothing more than a hologram. Daphne, investigating further, discovered a hidden control panel behind a false wall. Velma followed the wires from the panel, which led her to a trapdoor concealing a secret basement. Scooby and Shaggy, ever clumsy, accidentally fell into a pile of cushions that concealed the entrance. In the basement, the gang discovered the true identity of the shadow clown. Walter Grimm's, the disgraced park employee, had orchestrated the entire operation. Fred unmasked Walter, exposing his elaborate scheme to scare visitors and sabotage the park's reopening. Daphne dismantled the holographic projection system to ensure it couldn't be used again, while Velma explained the high-tech methods Walter had employed to carry out his revenge. Scooby and Shaggy, relieved to find the clown was just a human, celebrated with their characteristic enthusiasm. With the mystery solved, the gang left Evermore Park, reflecting on the strange events that had unfolded. Velma organized the collected evidence, ensuring it would be handed over to authorities to hold Walter accountable for his actions. Fred commended the team's courage, while Daphne lightened the mood with a joke about needing a well-earned rest. Scooby and Shaggy, as always, focused on the feast awaiting them back at the Mystery Machine. As the gang exited the park, its lights flickered one final time before plunging into darkness. The silence that followed was almost deafening, and the eerie atmosphere remained, though the threat had been vanquished. Velma cast a lingering glance back at the park, her curiosity piqued by the possibility that some of its secrets might remain undiscovered. Scooby, relieved to be out of harm's way, hugged Shaggy, grateful for their safety. Back in the Mystery Machine, the gang settled into a moment of calm. Fred reviewed their case notes, ensuring every detail was recorded. Velma meticulously organized the digital evidence, while Daphne gazed out at the starry night, commenting on the beauty of the landscape. Scooby and Shaggy, oblivious to the moment's introspection, focused on devouring an oversized sandwich they had prepared. The camaraderie within the group felt stronger than ever after yet another mystery solved. A few days later, the team received news of Evermore Park's permanent closure. Fred remarked that it was the right decision to prevent future incidents, while Daphne speculated about what might be done with the land. Velma suggested keeping tabs on the area, just in case any new mysteries arose. Scooby and Shaggy, content with the resolution, hoped their next case would involve fewer scares and more snacks, prompting laughter from the group. As the gang resumed their journey, their focus shifted to new enigmas awaiting them. Fred's steadfast leadership continued to guide the group, while Daphne's resourcefulness and Velma's intellect proved invaluable. Scooby and Shaggy, though often fearful, remained loyal and ready to face the unknown with their friends. Their shared experiences at Evermore Park became another chapter in their growing legacy of solved mysteries. One quiet evening during a camping break, Fred shared his thoughts about their latest case. Daphne added that every solved mystery brought a sense of accomplishment and strengthened their bond. Velma proposed documenting their adventures in a book, capturing the details of their investigations. Scooby and Shaggy, ever practical, suggested including recipes for snacks, sparking laughter from the group. The relaxed atmosphere reaffirmed the closeness of their friendship. However, as the group sat around the campfire, a distant noise broke the stillness of the night. Fred, ever vigilant, suggested investigating the sound, and Velma quickly grabbed her flashlight. Daphne, with a cautious expression, prepared her bag in case they needed supplies. Scooby and Shaggy, reluctant as always, tried to hide behind the van. Yet the group's curiosity and shared determination led them toward the source of the noise, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The sound turned out to be nothing more than the wind rattling an old, rusted sign, prompting a collective sigh of relief. As the gang returned to the fire, Fred declared with confidence that as long as they were together, they could face any challenge. Daphne smiled warmly, Velma nodded in agreement, and Scooby and Shaggy cheered with their signature Scooby-Dooby-Doo. The night ended with laughter, the gang's unwavering friendship shining brightly as they prepared for the next chapter in their journey.